The door was already closing when Molly realized she had made a mistake. The heavy wooden door swung inward on its slow hinge, then shifted with a quiet, final click that sounded too small to matter. But it did. Molly was still on the porch, and so was Eleanor. The afternoon air was colder than it had been 10 minutes ago, not winter cold. Not dangerous, but sharp enough to sting through thin fabric and into old bones. Eleanor stood one step down from the doorway, her hand still holding an empty watering can. She had stepped outside only to water the potted geraniums. The keys were inside, her phone was inside. The stove was on low, simmering soup. Molly stared at the door, her ears tilted forward. She had leapt through the narrow opening just before it closed. She had not calculated the hinge's weight. She had only reacted to the fluttering shadow of a bird in the garden. Instinct moved. The door followed. Now the porch was silent. Eleanor turned the handle. It didn't move. She tried again, slower, then harder. The handle resisted with quiet indifference. Molly blinked. Her tail flicked once, twice. This was not part of the pattern. Eleanor stepped closer to the door and pressed her palm against it, as if pressure might reverse what had already happened. Inside, through the window, the kitchen clock ticked above the stove. Molly heard it. She could not smell the soup from here. Eleanor tried the handle a third time. Still nothing. The air shifted. A breeze ran along the porch boards. Molly looked up at Eleanor. Eleanor did not look at Molly. She looked at the locked door. Within 30 seconds, the routine had broken. Within 45, something worsened. A neighbor's car pulled slowly into the driveway next door. Molly's ears flattened. Eleanor straightened her cardigan. Pride arrived before help did. Molly paced along the porch, her grey and white paws clicking lightly against the wooden boards. Her white chest rose and fell faster than usual. The air carried unfamiliar scents now. Damp soil, distant exhaust, someone grilling meat 2 houses away. The kitchen window reflected the sky. Inside, the stove flame continued its quiet work. Eleanor stepped down from the porch and walked to the side of the house where a smaller window overlooked the laundry room. She cupped her hands around her eyes and peered through the glass. Molly followed immediately. She jumped onto the narrow ledge, pressing her pink nose against the cold surface. The faint, darker spot near one nostril left a fogged imprint. Inside, everything looked normal. Too normal. Eleanor tested the window frame. Locked. Molly shifted her weight, claws scraping lightly against paint. She pawed at the glass once, then again, as if repetition might create an opening. It did not. From the driveway next door, a car door shut. Molly's large green eyes darted toward the sound. Eleanor remained still. Her shoulders stiffened. Molly did not understand pride, but she understood tension. It vibrated in Eleanor's posture like a string pulled too tight. Eleanor walked back toward the porch. The watering can was still there, the front door was still shut. Molly ran ahead of her this time, tail raised high, faint darker rings visible as it twitched with urgency. She leapt onto the doormat and scratched at the bottom of the door. Wood splintered slightly under her claws. No movement from inside. The neighbor's footsteps grew closer. Molly turned sharply, ears upright, the small notch on one ear tip catching the light. A woman appeared at the edge of the property line holding mail. She paused. Eleanor adjusted her cardigan again and forced her posture straight, though her slight stoop could not disappear completely. The neighbor approached slowly. Molly positioned herself between Eleanor and the woman, not defensively, just first. The neighbor gestured toward the door. Eleanor nodded once. The exchange was brief. Small hand movements. A polite smile that didn't reach tired eyes. The neighbor pointed toward her own house. Eleanor hesitated. Molly circled Eleanor's ankles, weaving in tight loops. The air felt colder now. The sun had slipped behind a thin layer of cloud. Time was moving. Inside, the stove flame continued. Eleanor looked back at the door one more time, then she followed the neighbor. Molly followed immediately. She did not look back. Within 2 minutes, the imbalance expanded beyond the porch. If you want to keep following the stories of Molly and Eleanor, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps these stories keep being told. The neighbor's kitchen smelled of coffee and citrus cleaner. Molly paused at the threshold, whiskers forward, body low. New territory, unknown patterns. Eleanor stood near the counter while the neighbor dialed a number on a landline phone, a locksmith. Molly jumped onto a chair, then onto the table before anyone could stop her. Her paws left faint grey prints on the polished surface. The neighbor winced but said nothing. Eleanor noticed. Eleanor lifted Molly down gently, holding her close for a brief second before setting her on the floor again. Molly's heart was still racing. She did not understand waiting. The neighbor ended the call and raised 5 fingers. 5 what? Molly watched Eleanor's expression. 5 minutes or maybe 10. The numbers meant nothing to Molly, but she sensed delay. Outside, the sky darkened slightly more. Molly trotted toward the neighbor's window and peered out. She could see their own porch from here. The locked door looked smaller from this distance, less threatening. The situation felt temporarily contained. Eleanor accepted a glass of water. She held it carefully. Her hands trembled only slightly, Molly noticed. She jumped onto the windowsill and pressed her body against the glass as if proximity could shorten time. The stove flame inside their house continued its unseen work. The soup would thicken. The bottom of the pot would darken. The illusion of control held for exactly 3 minutes. Then smoke appeared. It began as a thin grey ribbon rising behind the kitchen window. So subtle that the neighbor did not see it. Molly did. Her pupils widened instantly. Her body went rigid. Smoke did not belong in the pattern. She leapt down from the sill and ran in tight, frantic circles near Eleanor's legs. Eleanor looked down, confused. Molly bolted back to the window, claws scratching the glass. The neighbor turned at the sound. Only then did she see it. Her smudge behind the curtains. Eleanor moved faster than she had in years. The 3 of them rushed outside. From the yard, the smoke was clearer now, curling against the interior of the kitchen window. Not flames, not yet, but growing. The locked door stood between them and the stove. Molly sprinted ahead, reaching the porch first. She launched herself against the door with her full weight. It did nothing. Eleanor tried the handle again, as if repetition might rewrite reality. It did not. The neighbor pulled out a phone and stepped back, speaking urgently. Molly ran along the side of the house again, toward the laundry window. Still locked. She jumped, claws scraping, slipping. Inside, the smoke thickened. The smell reached them now. Burning vegetables, scorched metal. Eleanor pressed her palm to the door again. Her breathing changed, shorter. The glass beneath remained intact. Smoke swirled thicker inside. A distant siren wailed, too far, too slow. Molly dropped down, ran back to the porch and targeted the ceramic pot. She shoved it with her shoulder. It tipped, rolled, fell against the base of the side window with a heavy thud. The glass vibrated, not broken but weakened. Eleanor saw the crack forming. Understanding moved across her face. She grabbed the decorative stone. Her hands shook. She hesitated only 1 second. Then she threw it. The glass shattered inward. Smoke burst outward in a grey wave. Molly did not hesitate. She jumped through the broken frame. Faster! Molly felt the shift. This was no longer pride. This was fear. She scanned the porch. Her green eyes moved quickly, calculating without understanding. The watering can, the ceramic pot, the small decorative stone near the steps. Molly leapt onto the railing, then onto the narrow beam near the side window. She balanced, tail extended for counterweight. Below her, Eleanor shouted something wordless. Molly threw her weight against the window screen. Once, twice. On the 3rd attempt, the old screen frame loosened. It bent outward slightly, not enough. Molly adjusted. She climbed higher, gripping the edge with her uneven white whiskers brushing the glass. She pushed again. The frame cracked. Inside, the air was thick and hot. Her eyes watered instantly. She dropped low to the floor, instinct guiding her. The stove flame flickered under a blackened pot. The smell burned. Molly leapt onto the counter, knocked the wooden spoon to the floor, then pushed against the pot lid with all her strength. It shifted. Steam escaped violently. The flame wavered. She extended her paw and struck the stove knob. Once, missed, twice it turned. The flame died. Silence! The siren grew louder outside. Smoke continued to rise, but slower now. Molly jumped back down and ran toward the broken window. Eleanor's face appeared there, eyes wide, pale skin flushed. Molly leapt back out through the shattered frame. Glass scraped her fur lightly but did not cut. She landed hard on the grass. Seconds later, the first emergency vehicle turned onto the street. If you want to keep following the stories of Molly and Eleanor, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps these stories keep being told. The firefighters moved quickly. boots pounding against pavement. They entered through the broken window Molly had forced open. Hoses uncoiled, voices overlapped. Molly stood near Eleanor's feet, sides heaving, her grey and white fur faintly dusted with soot. Eleanor sank slowly onto the porch step, not collapsed, just lowered. Her hands trembled openly now. The neighbor hovered nearby. Molly did not move away. She pressed her body against Eleanor's ankle, anchoring. Inside the house, controlled chaos unfolded. Water sprayed lightly across the stove area. Fans were positioned. Windows opened, the smoke began to thin. One firefighter stepped back outside and nodded. Contained. No flames spread. Damage limited to the stove and cabinets above it. Eleanor closed her eyes for 3 seconds. When she opened them again, they were wet. Molly looked up at her. Her ears were still upright, though one with the subtle notch twitched slightly. The imbalance had peaked. The consequence had been real. If Molly had not seen the smoke, if she had not insisted, if she had not broken pattern again, the ending would have been different. But she had also caused the first rupture. Instinct had leapt at a shadow. Instinct had closed the door. Instinct had opened it again. The firefighters left as the sky shifted toward evening. The broken window was covered temporarily with a clear plastic sheet that fluttered in the cooling air. The stove was off. The soup was ruined. The cabinets were stained. But the house still stood. Eleanor walked slowly back inside through the front door, now unlocked by the locksmith, who had arrived too late to matter. Molly followed closely at her heels. The kitchen smelled of damp smoke and chemical fans. Eleanor surveyed the damage without expression. Then she bent down, slowly, carefully, and picked up Molly. She held her longer this time, not tight, not dramatic, just steady. Molly did not struggle. Her green eyes remained alert, scanning the room she had both endangered and saved. Routine would not return exactly as before. The stove would need repair, the window would need replacement, the neighbor would know. Pride had already shifted, but the pattern had adapted. Later that night, when the house was quiet again and the air finally clear, Molly sat near the repaired door. She watched it, measured it, learned its weight. Instinct had moved before reason. Now reason lingered. The door remained closed, but not unguarded. If you want to keep following the stories of Molly and Eleanor, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps these stories keep being told